Okay, oh, who else is, oh yes, mute. Good. Okay, everyone, welcome back to your XTC Bootcamp for 2022. You've heard a lot in the last few days about networking and ecosystems. And of course, you wouldn't have bothered with XTC if you did not already appreciate the value of building a human network. And we're going to dive further into that this morning. On Tuesday, you heard from a senior engineering leader at NXP Semiconductors from their headquarters in Europe about project development. In India, NXP decided to mount their own startup challenge for advanced technology, inspired by Extreme Tech Challenge, including that NXP's chief technology officer is on our board. But the broader idea was for the company to be more prominently interactive with entrepreneurs and investors throughout India for the betterment of all sides. And that idea came from our speaker this morning, Sanjay Gupta, who is country manager for NXP India and vice president at NXP Semiconductor. He's a dynamic leader of what is now, I believe, NXP's largest development hub outside of headquarters. And he thinks a lot about how to well connect his operations into the larger mesh network of ideas and people. It's been my privilege as head of competitions to work with Sanjay's team on now 2 annual NXP India Tech Startup Challenges, which have advanced 6 impressive Indian companies into our finalist group. I know it's also long into the evening in India, so Sanjay, we appreciate your taking time so late in the day to join us to talk about innovation ecosystems for tough tech, hard tech startups. And I also want to recognize Ho-Wai Wong Lam, who I see is on the call today, NXP's Vice President of Strategy, who tirelessly advocates for NXP, for XTC within NXP. And he helped to arrange both Machao and Sanjay's talks this week. So with questions going into chat, and also a reminder that today's second session launches immediately after this session. So please just click on the next Zoom link and pop right over at the top of the hour. Sanjay, welcome in your evening and tell us about ecosystems.
Thank you very much to the entire XTC team and yourself for inviting me and having me here. It's a privilege and honor to be part of this esteemed platform and sharing the thoughts that I have regarding, the immense opportunities that are available for our new age startups. We are truly on an inflection point, I believe, and sometimes envy that, probably we were born a little early, because today the startups have so much of opportunities that if they truly want to change the world, it is the opportunity. So let me share some of my thoughts. I represent NXP Semiconductors, as you all know. Just a single page on that, our punchline itself is secure connections for a smarter world. And, this punchline itself tells a lot about, what we're trying to do. It has 3 key words that, I will keep talking about. One is a secure, the second one is connections, and third one is smarter. And honestly speaking, whatever we design today, all these cool gadgets, they depict all these 3 fundamental points, overlapping each other. We cannot be successful in this new world unless our products are secure, unless we can have, very comfortable usage without worrying about any hacking or any kind of misuse of those products. They should be connected with each other. They should not be connected just with each other, but also with the cloud and with the rest of the ecosystem. That's where the very smart connections comes into picture. And finally, with the AI and ML technologies, shaping the world in this new world order, unless they are smart products, unless they have the intelligence, they will not be able to compete. So these 3 things, summarize, and I will talk more about it as I go along. Overall, we are a company which was a great legacy from both Philips as well as from Motorola. The merger of NXP and Freescale in 2015-16 actually paved the way for new NXP. Today, we are about 31,000 employees worldwide, more than 9,500 patent families, operations in more than 30 countries. And some of the key areas that we are developing products ranges from automotive, industrial, mobile, smart homes, smart cities, and communication infrastructure. So we are pretty much everywhere. And that's where we align ourselves to these main global trends that are drivers for the innovation. And as you can see into the slide, some of these trends, they are the ones that are touching as we are using, whether it's the latest and greatest smartphone, or it is a latest lifestyle product uh, as a smart watch, or it is a latest industrial automation that is changing the world. We are truly having a demographic change, as we say, the new generation, the millennials, and all the new ones. Uh, Today's kids are having cell phone on the day they're born, literally, and they are getting the usage and the application scenarios which are never ever thought in the past generations. Today, the penetration of new technologies into say 1 million users is penetrating faster than ever before. There are famous anecdotes that a TV, as an example, took 10 years to reach a million users. We are talking about a Twitter or a Facebook or the latest inventions going within a week's time. So we are completely on a technology treadmill, if you will. And that's where, unless and until we are innovating and we are catering to these new age demands, it's very difficult to catch up. And that's where the connectivity, the networking, and learning from the best comes out. Now, this chart is a depiction of how the whole semiconductors is changing over the period of time. And if you see the latest trend in 2020 versus what happened in 2000 and a decade later, I think you can really feel for it, that when the laptop or desktop or mobile phones were catching up and kind of adding to the semiconductors and electronics in general as the growth engines, it moved into cloud computing and smartphones 10 years later. And today we are talking about everything smart, whether it is a smart connected devices through smart factories, smart homes, or smart self-connected cars, right? So this era that we are getting into is not just these smart gadgets, they are multiplying. We are talking about anywhere from 50 billion to 75 billion connected devices which are smart and secure. And you can see at the bottom how this is exploding the entire semiconductors ecosystem and the entire revenue or a total market that is exploding with that, right? And that itself indicates that how the size of the entire pie is growing at a pace which has never been before. And by all projections, there's no slowdown. It is only going to grow up. Now this slide dissects this entire growth of these secure edge devices into something that we can really pick and choose our forte. For example, in this diagram, if you see, there are multiple eccentric circles, and each has a very important meaning. If you pick up the top left one, a personal space, and we are talking about devices that could be a cell phone or a tablet or a PC. And then it also depicts a key innovation area that is required to be successful in this area, which is ultra low power devices. Right? Same way, if you go diagonally opposite one into a transportation segment, right? What all comes into that segment? We have aeroplanes to these auto taxis and autonomous devices which are coming up. What we need into this space is the real time. Why real time? Because if a car is autonomous or even a semi-autonomous, if car is not able to communicate real time without any latency, so that the human life is not impacted, if you cannot predict an obstruction in front of the car or a transportation vehicle in real time, this is a big issue, because then it is not safer anymore. So there is a different application requirement based on the use case that comes in. And as new age startups, once we know from the customer eyes that what exact problem I'm that will pave the way to design to that particular focus area. If you go into the top right segment in the industrial, we see devices which could be autonomous robots or industrial 4.0, or the health gadgets, as you can see the heart signal here. What is the key requirement here? They need to be functionally safe. Under no circumstances these devices can fail to operate in a functionally safe manner. Imagine a medical device or a pacemaker that is inserted inside a human body, that just cannot fail. It needs to have enough redundancy built up that no matter what, it is always safe. And finally, on the bottom left axis, if you think about a home, right? Home can have a smart doorbell, it could have a smart lock, or it could have a smart gadget inside. What it requires, always a secure element inserted inside, so that no matter I'm at home or not, I know my home is always secure. So this four-dimensional view also has another key angle about what exactly you need from the semiconductors and electronics perspective. If you talk about this dimension, all these devices, one common theme, they will be connected to cloud. And another dimension is they will be requiring huge data centers where zillions of storage capability should be there with all the attributes of safety and security. They need to have very large processing power so that under no circumstances they are tiring to calculate real time. They should have a huge memory and huge way of real time processing so that latency and performance are never a problem. And last but not the least, they need to have devices which are in billions, which are connected all the time. Now, this is a huge problem statement, but at the same time, wherever there's a biggest problem, there's a biggest opportunity. And to me, it offers huge, tremendous opportunities to every company in the world, be a big MNC or a young startup, because the pie is just getting bigger and bigger with all these complexities. And each one of the companies can pick and choose their own niche, their own strength, where they can attack and they can be the world leaders. Some of the facts on the right side of this table are indicating about how this world is going to change. I'm not going to read through, but you can just glance through that, how this whole ecosystem is transforming in front of our own eyes. If we talk about a report which says 50% of the electrified vehicles by 2030, just imagine the possibilities here for everyone who wants to work on EV space. Because right now, this 50% figure is less than 10% by all estimates. Same is true for the L2 autonomous assisted driving. The same is true for the 5G coverage of the entire world. Everything is going to be 10x from the point where we are today. And to me, it is a huge, huge opportunity that is front of all of us. And no matter whether we are just an IC company or an IP company or a software company, if we collaborate together and if we try to change this world, sky's the limit. Now, from NXP eyes, how this whole world is changing. We have a simple philosophy that we say that everything aware, everything smart, everything connected, and everything efficient. And these four pillars are putting on a foundation of everything safe and secure. And if you try to see that with a comparison to the most sophisticated creation, which is human brain, which again, if you go to the biological evolution of human brain, and people say it is outcome of 10,000 plus years of evolution, and some estimates are even more. How a human is replica of a smart machine. Let's say you're driving a car. What you expect from a driverless car? That it should be aware of surroundings, which means that if we are able to create smart sensors, just like human eyes, human ears, which are sensors of sophisticated order, but if we are able to create a smart radar, smart camera-based solutions, smart LiDAR-based solutions, we will create these devices in super aware. Once these sensors send the signal to human brain through our eyes and ears, human brain processes and smartly act. How about our devices are loaded with artificial intelligence and all these machine learning driven algorithms, which are always cranking data faster than human brain? And how about we create these devices which can compete with human brain, which, by the way, human brain can get tired. But these devices, if they're designed properly, they can never get tired. So you are going to create a car that has the brain, right? or or a gadget in industrial space or a health space which has a brain. Now humans are connected with the rest of the world, right? We use gestures, we use body language, we use eye connect. How about these devices are connected to each other through cloud, through edge, using different connectivity technologies? And connectivity technologies could be varying from a very small, short range, say Bluetooth or NFC, the near field communication, which are used for payment and your metro ticketing, all the way to the long range, which could be DSRC or a 5G. And then there are, various technologies within a car where different components within a car are talking to each other. It could be a flex ray, it could be flex can, it could be a CAN. And finally, like humans try to be efficient through reuse and through preservation of energy, how about our gadgets are designed very low power? How about they are designed using the best principles of battery management systems and ultra low power applications so that they can last longer, and a battery operated device can last more than a decade. All these four things in our eyes constitute the smart product, and that's the way to look into the possibilities that are emerging into this new world. And finally, the foundation of everything safe and secure, so that irrespective of whether I'm designing a smart watch or a health meter device inserted in my body or autonomous vehicle, I'm always safe and secure. This is the foundation, and that is what creating these 75 billion connected devices by all estimates, which will depict all these unique proposition, which will change this world. Now, another thing, that is very, very critical as a human expectation that is changing this world is on demand to ahead of demand, right? If we think about it, maybe 2 decades back, when I used to click a picture, and I was sending a picture to my family, from a different country. Probably it was taking weeks to click the picture, get it printed, making it physically mailed to a different country, and then my family will see them after 30 days or whatever time it takes. Today, even at the time of clicking a picture, I'm actually anticipating that how it will reach my family, and sometimes it's real time. Right? Today we are talking real time. So today we shoot videos which can real time be shown on Facebook or social media, and I think that is what changing it from anticipates and automates. So our human desire to be ahead of demand is creating our device expectations that they can anticipate and automate. A simple example, right? It is a security door here on the left side. Today, my expectation is that even if I'm entering into super secure entrance, this lock should be able to know that who am I, and I'm pre-authorized using technology so that the moment I am near the door gets open. So from the sci-fi and Wi-Fi, we are moving into, those who have seen the Star Trek. From a simple automatic entry of the gates, we are talking about the secure entry, which are talking to my mobile phone, using my ID, which are pre-fitted, and then there's a handshake happening between the secure servers, and then I'm giving an approval to enter a door. That is the word we are moving, anticipates and automates. In the below picture, you are seeing a car where my mobile phone can act as a keyless entry. The keyless entry feature that historically we have been using, which was prone to relay attacks, where a bad element can relay the signal that your mobile phone or your automotive keyless entry key is giving, and then transmit it, is no more a threat, because today, using new technologies like ultra wideband, you can actually calculate the distance from the source to few centimeters. And even if you try to do relay attack, the device has intelligence to know that if it takes few microseconds for the signal to reach, in this particular case, it is taking more than that, and you will not let the car to get open. We are moving into a smart world which can anticipate and automates, and that's where all that I talked about, from the left side of cloud to the right side of all these edge devices, they are being enabled with the thought process of everything connected, everything smart, everything power efficient, and everything in a sensible range. So Sense, Think, Connect, Act is a framework that connects the left side of the cloud infrastructure to the right side of the smart edge devices. And I think that's where the opportunity lies. For all the new age companies, first you choose which area of application you want to target. Right? Within the sustainability world, right? You have automotive, you have industrial, you have mobile, you have communication infrastructure. And once you go deeper into that, on the left side, you have amazing possibilities to be in a machine learning to authentication, from data analytics to services. All these are multi-billion-dollar industries by themselves. The center is the core technologies, right? Which are by self, companies and independent companies which are just picking one domain and surviving. And on the right side is the end products. So you can be a technology company, you can be a product company, you can be a service company. It is sky's the limit. And that's why I said it's truly an envy moment for a lot of people who were born before, because that kind of a unique proposition has really not come before. And with the technology enabling it, with the newer semiconductor technologies ranging 16 nanometer, 5 nanometer and below, with the processors that are more powerful than ever before, we are able to connect the dots in terms of our ideas, and we have the ability to convert that idea into reality, because everything has come together at the same time. Performance is not a barrier, technology is not a barrier, software is not a barrier, and that's why it is such a great moment for us. Now, some of the key use cases I thought I will share real quick with you guys in terms of scenarios. What if our body could talk to a doctor? And imagine a scenario where a microscopic chip that you swallow, can record your biorhythms and health stats. And when you need a medical care, it can quickly send your data to a doctor, maybe thousands of miles away, using a edge connection. And then the doctor can issue a life-saving drug through a small patch which is already inserted into your arm. Imagine this new world that will be possibility using this multiple technology of Sense, Think, Connect, and Act that I spoke about. It results in saving human life. Similar scenario in automotive world. What if the driver on the other side of the wet, dark road is sleepy and dangerously drift on the wrong side? How about your chips loaded with radar and communication infrastructure can recognize the danger, and they can inform you, and they can use the automated steering and braking systems to save life? What if an accident happens? There are a lot of countries in the world where we lose thousands of people every year because of human errors in the automotive. In fact, the number is in millions. Right? Literally every 30 seconds, somebody dies on a road accident, which is such a bad situation. What if that right after the accident, the car is intelligent enough that using the communication channel, it can automatically inform the nearest hospital to send the ambulance along with the location of the accident? How about the person, instead of dying in isolation, can reach the medical center in time and human life is saved? This is possible using technology. And for the consumer and industrial application, how about our home can talk to a car, right? Where the moment you are approaching your home in a hot summer, home thermostat can automatically get enabled and adjust so that once you arrive, you are getting your comfortable temperature. And not only that, it saves electricity because you don't need to put it in an ultra cold mode, at the starting point. How about your washing machine only works when the tariffs are lowest and the load balancing on the electric grid is least? All these are going to conserve and create a sustainable environment. We already talked about the X-rays, vision through usage of radar and LiDAR and camera-based technologies. Through imaging radar is another key thing that is coming up, and that is what will convert our level 1 driving to level 2, which means going from a partial autonomous vehicles to fully autonomous vehicles. These are the cool technologies that are driven right now as we speak across the world. And for sure, NXP is leading it from the front, but there are a lot of companies which are working on this, including our top customers, and these are being enabled. What if could you could influence objects without direct interaction? Right? So you can imagine this person with a cell phone in the pocket, and I talked about ultra wideband earlier. I touched upon that. So this is not a new technology, but the way this has really taken off in last couple of years, because using ultra wideband as a base and providing it support from the secured technology through the usage of the right microcontrollers and autonomous framework using the AI engine. On the top right picture, you can literally see that this technology can find out literally you are on the first floor of your house or ground floor of your house. This can track you till few centimeters, which would mean that if you move from one room to another, it can automatically control your lighting systems, your infotainment systems, your music systems, so that you don't need to necessarily waste electricity or unused gadgets into the other rooms, because it will be knowing that you are in the room or how many people in the room, and it will control your electronic gadgets, your air conditioning accordingly. It has many other application usages, from your not just tracking you, but also the hands-free payments. Since it knows that you are the right legal owner of a particular ID, it can do the automatic payments in a hands-free mode in a contactless manner. It can do the smart building access, as I spoke about earlier, and object-to-object detection. So all in all, technologies are changing the world. It is for us how we can make the right use case that we want to define for the world. I will touch upon some of the critical use cases which are very relevant for the newest startups. Intelligent edge, which is safe, secure, and responsible for the new edge application scenarios. And we are telling it the edge of everything. Anything that is connected to finally to the cloud and eventually touching human, we call it a edge device. There are a lot of examples below. It could be a healthcare, it could be transportation, mobility. For example, a smart car could be a edge device. It could be your appliances at home. It could be a factory automation device. It could be your home gateway that is connected to the world. Finally, there is a seamless connectivity between the cloud and the edge. And some of the cool examples. Sustainable development goals are very key for XTC, very key for the world, for all of us. Right? How can the world achieve zero hunger by 2030? There is a lot of data analysis and research being done. Farms around the world account for about 70% of fresh water consumption annually. Right? Now, it's estimated that half of the water used by irrigation is lost, because not every part of the world, especially the emerging countries, are equipped with automation, equipped with the intelligence that the right water can be given to the right desired sources. And that's where a lot of wastage happens. Imagine a precision farming. If this becomes a reality across the world, using high-end technology and the right products for that region, it can reduce water and fertilizer use by at least 20% based on the research. Imagine how this is going to change the world and create a sustainable world, so that no one is having water deprivation, nobody is hungry. Another cool example, connected cows. Again, health monitoring can help reduce common diseases, which can cost Indian dairy industries an estimated $1 billion annually. Today, this is the most, a very important sustainable item, but it is one of the most ignored items as well in emerging countries. Right? How about technologies helping to ensure that we can track and monitor these things in the least manual way, using autonomous and using technology. Sustainable agriculture is being enabled from the edge computing, and I think that's where the world is changing for good. Another key example on the industrial revolution that is happening, which is aiding for a better sustainable world, but also resulting in a lot of automation and a lot of saving that happens in waiting for the right ecosystem, the right supply chain partners. Now, if we are having fewer errors, if we have more visibility on every aspect of industrial automation. Just imagine just-in-time thought that is a simple word but has so much of meaningful dimension, that the moment you are missing out an element in your supply chain, whether it is automotive supply chain or whether it is a retail mart, the moment you are losing an item below certain threshold, sensors are telling automatically to the warehouse that I need that much of supply, and it is anticipating and automating. So you don't need a human intervention to say that I'm missing one component in the overall chain, and that's what breaking my chain. It can anticipate and it can automate, and that's what the industrial 4.0 is, where the industries can create a lot of saving on electricity, a lot of saving into running their factories to create higher efficiencies with lesser power and lesser errors. That is what results in a sustainable world. And machine vision that is giving eyes to these robots is going to make it happen. And these eyes, truly speaking, not just replacing human eyes, but they're also based on the automation and anticipation. They are creating multiplier effect to these human eyes, and that is what is creating industrial 4.0 and 5.0 as we are moving into the future. Another key number from the manufacturing industry, the downturn is estimated to cost manufacturing industry $650 billion every year. And when we say the downtown, this downtime is not helping anyone. This is only creating a lesser productivity, and every single dollar that is saved, that goes to as outcome from the sustainable world and create a better world for all of us. My important parameter, health, that I spoke about. 75% of medical data will be generated and processed at the edge by 2025, based on all the figures and research so far. The trend that is changing the health check today, I'm fascinated by the latest health check that are being happening. It tells you automatically about your last 5 or 10 health checkups that were done. It empirically calculates whether your last 5-year blood pressure or blood sugar levels are going up or down, or they are static. Now imagine the kind of data analytics that is happening on human health. The impact that is creating is never even thought of before. We are talking about a scenario where you come to work every day, and the first thing your monitor is going to say the moment you open your laptop or PC is your latest health record, because your body is continuously talking to these gadgets, which could be your smartwatch, which is telling you number of hours you slept last night compared to the average sleeping time for last 1 month, and what is your blood pressure, what is your heart rate, and what you should be doing to remain healthy. So again, theme of anticipates and automates, and that is what is resulting into a lot of opportunities from the health industry perspective to provide the real-time response along with privacy. And if that is happening, imagine the kind of huge sustainable effort we will do to the human health across the world. So to summarize it, finally, it is connecting ideas and the people at the edge, and that's where technology has the biggest role to play. Connection is happening not just through through these gadgets, but we also have this 5G, which is going to change the world for better, where the limitations of these cell towers that the previous 4G systems were there. This with the spatial beam forming technology will create using small cell and medium cell based technologies a world that will never be deprived of bandwidth and coverage, and that is what is going to result into a lot of focus towards the rural internet gaps that happens in many parts of the world, including India, because using these technologies, the coverage is going to be desired at the right place with the right bandwidth, and not just is result into providing 5G, it actually impacts human sustainable goal of education. Imagine countries like India and with 17% of the world population representation, it is still primarily a world which is living into rural areas with very less coverage of connectivity. And that is what the right technology penetration can provide: a right to education, a right to knowledge to every kid. And that will be true not just in India, but every part of the world, including Africa and China and the rest of the developing countries. So, as a final summary from my side, for startups to grow, one of the things that will be required, the ability to scale, because all these applications, all these technology frameworks, eventually they all are connected to each other to create the final end goal, which is having everything that we do on a foundation of safety and security. And as we are moving from a startup into the next MSME, into the next big unicorn of the world, the scalability aspect is important, and how this small seed is going to become a solid tree one day, right? The scalability has various attributes, and they will happen through different ways. But one of the ways that it will happen through the right partnerships. We are 1+1 and not 2 but 11. We have heard it several times, but in our world, where no one person can know it all, no one company can know it all, it is truly the synergy, that how we put up complementary ideas, complementary products, complementary skills together, and create this new world order that we just went through. If we have the ability to connect the dots and work with the people who are going to help us, complement us, and scale us, right? Then we are going to go towards building startups that will last forever. So some of the key messages that I thought I will share, that operating in silos and is one of the biggest error that a lot of us can do. So the opportunity lies in working together, and that's what will create the opportunity to innovate and grow. It's also important that choosing the partners, choosing the right ecosystem partners, where are our strengths and where are our weakness, because that will help us to work on our strengths and then complement ourselves. From partnership that are strengthened with the global leaders, look for what is the strategic fit and how the partner can fill your gaps. And listen and learn. And one of the effort that XTC is greatly doing is providing those avenues where working with different ecosystem partners and industry leaders, some opportunities, so that with passion and purpose, we can drive to win. From NXP, I just also thought of giving a message that we are here to always create an invitation to play and inspire. Our CTO Lars, who is part of the board, is always one of the most energetic and collaborative leaders who always say that explore the possibilities, play with NXP either as employee or our university partner or our customer or vendor, right? But we are here to provide all those opportunities and enable in every way possibility, so that we can make a win-win proposition. So it's an invitation to play and create an inspiration for all of us to grow. And finally, I want to conclude by saying that there is a race, a competitive race to be the winner into this very complex ecosystem. But one thing is very clear: cake is very big that everyone can eat. So it is big enough that we should least worry about somebody will eat my lunch. The only thing that we should look for is partner, create right collaboration framework, because most likely the winner will be the one who is having the right collaboration mindset and the right partnerships. Within the technology world, within the semiconductors world, leverage the technologies, but also try to intelligently have the agility to work on multi-die packages, FPGAs, which can reduce the cycle time for your prototypes. Another key thing is that we are living in an era which is not just independent, isolated chip or die. We are living in an era which is a solutions-driven era. Nothing can work without the right software, a model that can fit with security and safety onto hardware. So eventually the word order will be the products which are having the best in class software capabilities on top of hardware capabilities, so that it is the least trouble to the user. It is as simple as that. I have a cell phone which can automatically have the on the air updates, and I just don't even realize that my software will get upgraded. Same is going to be true, by the way, on every single product on the planet, including the smart autonomous vehicles. Every car in times to come will have this on the air updates, because it will be nothing but a super cell phone with a brain. It's like robots on wheels, which will automatically upgrade. So a very established software model and mature model is going to be part of the winning equation. And finally, a super AI and ML driven smartness in the products, which will be part of the secure system. So this is the new world order looks like, and I will conclude by that. I want to again thank you all for listening and giving me the opportunity to share my views. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Sanjay. Let me start with looking at this from the startup perspective. You've presented a very broad canvas, and thinking that one slide we had all the many different places. But if you're in just one of those places as a startup, I'm thinking how they sort of look up towards you. And I wanted to go to this India Tech Startup competition that you did. The winners that we brought in, a couple of them were sort of pure chip plays, but one of them was a medical prosthetic. One of them was an education tool in very specific niches. And I'll pick just because I want to the RoboBionics. That's a very particular thing, that prosthetic. But that's only one of many markets you look at. What is sort of what do you get out of meeting and working with a company like RoboBionics or Tinkerbell?
Right. So from NXP perspective, right, we have a mission that sustainable goals. I think this is actually a very important point. I want to mention that sustainability goals and be very responsible, as a social citizen, as an NXP, as a corporate citizen, is part of our annual goals. To that extent that our CEO is personally having a direct review of all sustainable goals, and society plays a very important role in that. So the two examples of Tinkerbell and the medical arm that we talked about, right? They are going to be a very key element in our commitment towards society. That as NXP, we will partner and we will support the startups which have the angle which goes to help society and cater to the few maybe we say differently enabled individuals which need support, and which technology can help to make their life better and make this world a better place to live in. And that's where I think technology has a big role to play, and that's where our partnership with these two organizations shows that we will continue to work for society. And likewise, there are many other ways where using, say, connectivity technology, using say radar based technology, we can help save human life. That is another big aspect, that how we can ensure that while we go for these high-end autonomous cars, they don't result into any more killing on the road. Right? We lose 1.3 million people on roads every year. Right? Any company, any startup that can help in that, we will be partnering with them.
Let me dig into the medical, and I picked this because we have other companies in our cohort, and I think some on the call today that have medical services or devices. They're not arms, but like RoboBionics, there's a chip in there somewhere that you care about. But I guess I'm wondering what the level of interaction like. Would you, for example, help Bionics or others with, say, clinical trials, and also, and I think this is probably true with Bionics and with other areas, there are a lot of regulatory, I mean, it's a great idea, but there are a lot of regulatory hurdles to get that out into wide use, which would also have them buy lots of chips. But sort of how far down the business chain is it? Do you concern yourself? And from their standpoint, how much do I look to NXP for one thing versus looking to other folks to help with different aspects? What's the right way to view that ecosystem?
Right. See, finally, any smart product that comes into the market, it is a result of a whole ecosystem. So we are a semiconductor supplier. That is our forte. We provide the semiconductor solutions, both hardware and software. There is a OEM component here, the companies that actually develop medical products, right? So they are the company which are our customers, where we supply our chips and our expertise on this area to provide, say, a medical device which is a battery operated, which can work, say, 10-year plus battery operation, right? So we meet the specification for the lowest power device on the planet to provide to that medical device, which is super secure, which is functionally safe, and which will not falter in any way possible, right? So that is our forte. Now the responsibility for our partner side comes from the OEM, who is making that medical gadget, to get the certification done, because that's where the core expertise for that medical company comes. They're going to work from their side to get the clearances, the regulations, the standardization, and then together we might have a third partner, say the government, who is going to be providing the support from their side. And then there could be a fourth partner, say the financial supplier of money to invest into that venture. So together it is an ecosystem of like-minded people who want to focus on a particular goal, right? It could be medical, it could be something else for the environmental and other ways. But it's always going to be a teamwork. What we provide through these tech startup challenges is a platform where we connect the dots, because as NXP we have our own network with the OEMs, with the product companies, with the government agencies, with the universities. So the ecosystem platform, that is a landing part, right? I think that is a big advantage, because sometimes in isolation, a company with all the right attributes might lose out in time to market because they just don't know how to connect the dots. So that is a very important attribute that we try to provide using not just the mentorship opportunities, the technical know-how on the solutions side, on the chip side, but also extended coverage onto the other blind spots, which generally are not known to startups.
And I'll pursue this, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but I do have a couple of questions in chat on this score, and not just medical, but like Thinkerbell is in education. Grintech, I remember, was in mobility, and each of those are very heavily regulated areas in India as much as in any other country. And the little tiny company may not feel that it can do much about that. And they might imagine or hope that at some level you might advocate for, say, hey, could you make more streamlined regulatory matters in education or in transportation for the greater good of all these things. And I know one only puts oneself out so far, but several of them are asking, how much could they look to you to help advocate for sort of better business conditions?
Very good question, and very relevant to all the startups. So from an India standpoint, if you look back the journey that India has in last let's say 1 to 2 decades, as a country we are actually since last 5 to 10 years, we are actually slowly taking off into this high tech startup ecosystem. As a matter of fact, just on the startups, we are the top 3 startup ecosystems in the world. And if I just don't talk about technology, but talk about startups in general, many people will get surprised that every 1 month we are giving birth to one unicorn, right? And this number used to be every 5 years one unicorn, then every 1 year one unicorn. Now we're talking about every 1 month one unicorn. And based on the head of startup ecosystem in the country, which is the Invest India platform of Government of India, and the CEO was in a recent talk with us, and he mentioned that this number is only going to grow, at a double accelerated rate into every area, including technology. From a technology standpoint, I want to assure everyone who is listening to this from a technology area in India in particular, that there's a huge government funding and support that is coming to technology startups. In general, for technology and semiconductors, government has committed more than $10 billion of funding, but that is in a larger canvas. Specific to startups, specific to design, they have launched something called DLI, the Design Linked Incentive. The more you design, the more you get incentives. At the moment, it is a very humble effort of $1 million, in your first year, if you are able to put a prototype in place, plus all the government support into standardization, legislation, and this clearances. But as an India ecosystem, NXP is part of something called IESA, Indian Electronics and Semiconductor Association. I represent IESA. In fact, I am the board member of IESA, and we are trying to put up a dedicated cell for specifically focusing on our startups, so that they have one-stop solution for every matter which is legal / governmental in nature. Because these are the areas every big technology company will get stuck, because this is a big blind spot, especially dealing with governments. And that is what we are taking endeavor as the Indian semiconductor industry, Indian electronic industry in general, to be part of our goals, to help connect the dots between startups and government for this specific legislation and standardization process. So we know we are not perfect, because every journey starts from 0 point, but eventually it reaches a destination. But I can only say that things are going to get better and better with all this tailwind that we are getting on this front.
Okay, I'll ask you one other quick question, because we do have to go at the top of the hour, but it covers several of the ones in chat, which is, across all of your presentation, what is sort of the underlying or unifying theme? And I'm guessing it's basically everything being data telemetried and data enabled. You said in one of your last slides you're investing heavily in AI. Would you say that is sort of whether it's the arm or the blind person or fish farms, that somehow it's all getting telemetry? Or how else would you state that?
If I have to summarize, I will simply say 4 words: sense, think, connect, act. If these 4 words we remember, they will clarify a lot of things that we need to be doing to be successful. Because no device, no product, whichever product you talk about, whether it is a medical arm or it is a automated way for blind people to follow or to read, it has to be sensing ability. It has to be connected. It has to be having some kind of a autonomous AI engine to take some decisions on its own. And then finally, it has to be power efficient, because most of these devices will be battery operated, or if they're mobile. So sense, think, connect, act will give a lot of framework in terms of what is my strength area, where I need to focus on as a technology collaborators, because I may be good into, let's say, connectivity portion, but then it will tell me that I need to be partnering with people who are good in AI. I need to partner with somebody who has a low power technology. Sense, think, connect, act is the punchline with the foundation of safety and security.
We will leave it on those 4 words. Thank you very much, Sanjay, for taking your time. Thanks for everyone for listening. And I will ask you to please check your calendar and flip over right now to the top of the hour with Shankar Chandran. And again, thanks to Hawaii, if she's still on, for setting this up. And thank you, Sanjay, for your collaboration with XTC. It's been a delight working with you and Ankit.
Same here. Thank you. Pleasure is all mine. Thank you,
Okay,
Hawaii.
very good. Goodbye, and we'll see you on the next